Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Office Bloke Daz.
I'm Office Bloke Mike.
Here we are, Office Bloke Daz. Oh no, start again. wrong intro. Office Bloke Daz and Office Bloke Mike. Yeah, ready? Start again.
Yep.
Have to cut that, Max. Take two. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Office Bloke Daz.
I'm Office Bloke Mike.
Here we are, the Office Blokes, in our full glory.
Nice one.
The bizarre origin of Florida Man.
Yeah.
I always think of
that?
like when it's a crazy like headline, it's always Florida Man.
Yeah.
Or Ohio Man is another one.
Ohio Man. Oh,
Yeah.
I've not heard of that one before.
Ohio Man or Florida Man.
Yeah.
But it's they never say. I've never seen New York Man.
No, but Florida
Or,
Man.
I don't know, Arizona Man.
yeah.
It's always Florida Man.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is Legal Eagle with the bizarre origin of Florida Man.
Yeah, he's
Get
got
into
juicy.
it.
Yeah, I've done a few of this before, haven't we?
We have.
Legally.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, good channel.
Talks through things really, really well, doesn't he?
He's a lawyer, isn't he?
Yeah, it's
We
good.
need a lawyer at the moment.
Ah, yes, Florida Man.
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 Mr. Florida.
Who can forget classic Florida Man stories like Florida Man undergoing kidney dialysis is upset that he can't bring life-size cutout of President Trump for emotional support during his treatments. Florida Man threatens to kill man with kindness, uses machete named Kindness. Florida Man accused of stealing gator from golf course threw it around to teach it a lesson. For every U.S. state, people have formed some stereotypes about the people who live there. For Oregon, people may unfairly assume it's full of Portlandia hipsters. For Texas, people might unfairly assume folks are just one unkind word away from going full Yosemite Sam.
Now all of you skunks clear out of here!
But whenever you hear the name Florida Man, it conjures up a certain image of swamps, beer, and lawless shamelessness. And I'm not talking about Mar-a-Lago. But what if I told you that the overwhelming deluge of stories about Florida and their Florida antics isn't because Floridians are inherently weird and prone to getting caught doing ridiculous things? Really, the reason we hear so much about Florida has to do with something that should be the envy of all other states: Florida's radical commitment to open meetings and accessible public records. So let's discuss the phenomenon of Florida Man, Florida Woman, and Florida people, and how we owe Florida's open government laws for entertaining us with stories like SWAT team rescues Florida man from tree, Florida man blames Putin in attempt to avoid speeding ticket, and so many more tales of woe from the Sunshine State.
I'm not a state. I'm a monster.
But before we get into the why of Florida Man, let's discuss the what of Florida Man. What is Florida Man? Well, for those of you who have spent the last decade living under a rock with no Wi-Fi, Florida Man is a long-running internet joke about, to put it politely, the colorful residents of the Sunshine State. Specifically, the term refers to the seemingly disproportionate number of Floridians whose news stories go viral for engaging in a variety of irrational, sordid, and outright bizarre behavior. Florida Man first became popularized as an internet meme in 2013 thanks to the efforts of the Florida Man Twitter account, who gained national attention when he began collecting news stories about Florida Man stories to illustrate real-life headlines about the world's worst superhero. Though the account stopped tweeting in 2019, you can also track the exploits of Florida Man stories on Reddit and Tumblr. Or you could just apply Florida Man to your Google alerts. The general pattern of these stories involve headlines that are literally just Florida Man followed by the absolutely bonkers thing that they are reported to have done. What kinds of things, you ask? Well, I'm so happy you asked, because these peculiar tales fall into several categories of Floridian woe. You've got your booze-related antics like, beer is my coffee, says Florida man arrested for 9th DUI. Florida man arrested on DUI charge after driving scooter into Walmart shelves, police say. Drunk Florida man tries to use taco as ID after his car catches fire at Taco Bell. And then you've got your drug-related mishaps, like Florida man high on flocka, attacked officer, said he was God, had sex with tree, police say. Florida man calls cops to come over and test if his meth is authentic. Florida man says syringes found in his rectum aren't his. Then you've got bizarre injuries, often involving the misuse of firearms, explosives, or wildlife, like Florida man accidentally shoots himself, notices 2 days later. Florida man who blew arms off making fireworks with coffee grinder won't be charged. Florida man fleeing from cops attacked by alligator. Then you've got Florida crime stories like police, Florida men try to steal honey, get attacked by 30,000 bees. Florida man arrested for trying to get alligator drunk. Florida man posing as Disney worker charged in removal of R2-D2 at hotel. Florida man snatches 4 million pounds of citrus without paying. Then there are the Florida man stories that defy categorization. Florida man beats ATM, says it gave too much cash. Florida man stole truck, attempted to break into military base to warn of fight between aliens and dragons. Florida man claimed powers of invincibility helped him steal cigarettes. Police. And lest you think it's just all about the Florida man, we've also got our share of Florida woman stories that are no less.
I guess they don't have to use the word Florida man, do they? They
No.
could just be man or woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
But the Florida man's become a thing, hasn't it?
thing. Yeah, I'm sure we must have something similar over here. But I
Yeah,
can't
London,
think.
London man, Southerner.
Do you reckon? I can't think what it is though. But
Yeah, it's. I don't think we have the similar thing over here.
Do you not?
No,
I'm just
no.
wondering whether it is, but I don't know. I thought we might do.
Nothing springs to mind.
No, not as a countrywide thing. I don't think. I just thought maybe more of a localized type of thing.
I guess if it's anything that happens in the UK, if it's an English guy, no one refers to him as English. If it's someone in Scotland or Wales, the news in England refers to it as Scot or Welshman or Scotsman.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is Florida man's really sort of like cottoned on to be like the most bizarre sort of like things that happen in the
It
news,
is,
and
yeah,
it's always
yeah.
Florida man, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Bizarre, like Florida woman dances during sobriety test, tells deputy you sound like my ballet coach. Florida woman arrested for posting fresh meth tonight on dating profile, cyber stalking. Florida woman bites camel's genitals to escape from animal after it sat on her. The camel did nothing wrong. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Devin, are you actually going to talk about some kind of pertinent legal issues here, or is this just some flimsy excuse to list as many Florida man and Florida woman stories as possible in one video? Yes. Now, I'm also going to talk about all the crazy stuff that happens in all of the other states as well. We'll get to the law in a second. But the thing is, weird news stories exist in every state, and they're not hard to find. Texas man texts weed offer to cop, gets arrested. Arizona man selling ranch for $5 million due to constant alien attacks. Pennsylvania man facing assault charges over Big Mac. Connecticut man yells at bear until it leaves his kitchen. Missouri man helps start riot against self, will almost assuredly be re-elected senator after 3 more years in office. And yet, there seems to be a disproportionate amount of weird stories coming out of Florida. But there's actually a very good reason we hear about Florida so much in these viral news stories, and it's something that Florida actually has done very well that is worthy of praise that should be modeled by other states. I'm talking about Florida's robust public records laws enshrined by statute and constitutional amendments. As reported by the Miami New Times, ironically, one of the things that may be contributing to Florida being shamed so often in the national media is something all Floridians should be proud of. Since 1909, Florida has had a proud tradition that all government business is public business and therefore should be available to the public. That means all records, including photos and videos produced by a public agency, are easily accessible with a few narrow and obvious exceptions. Public officials are also required to open all of their meetings, even unofficial ones, to the public. So here's a quick recap of Florida's century-long tradition of open records laws. Florida passed its first public records law in 1909 with the aptly named Public Records Law. As stated by the Florida Public Records Law, quote, "It is the policy of the state that all state, county, and municipal records are open for personal inspection and copying by any person. Providing access to public records is a duty of each agency. Under this law, all records made or received by any public agency in the course of official business are available for inspection unless subject to a specific exception or exclusion by the Florida legislature." And in the century that that law has been enacted, the definition of what constitutes a public record has expanded beyond the traditional written documents. And you know what public records are also subject to disclosure? Arrest reports, 911 calls, and mugshots with private info like address and phone numbers redacted. As a result, we got access.
That guy in the middle there,
Some
he was
mugshots there, weren't they? Especially on the left and right.
Yeah, but the guy in the middle become quite famous, didn't he? He was dating what's his daughter.
I don't know.
Who's the guy at BHS? Let's go back to the picture. I'm sure he became like a. I'm pretty sure he became like a model, and he was dating Chloe.
Maidley?
Was it? No. Who was the guy that had BHS?
Not sure.
White-haired guy. I think he went to become a model. Pretty sure off his mugshot.
Yeah. Really?
And then started dating this girl whose dad had a yacht and all that. And I'm pretty sure he was not BHS. One of the top department stores in the UK. Philip Green. Was it his daughter?
It's BHS, isn't it? British Home Stores.
Was he Philip Green was BHS, was he?
I think he was.
He was one of them anyway, Top Man or something like that, and all that kind of stuff. Dorothy Perkins and all that kind of stuff. And I think he was dating the daughter.
Right.
Something like that. I'm pretty sure. Something happened.
Wow.
It was someone like that anyway.
The other guy on the right's teeth there.
I know, right?
Wow.
Hey, man, he can eat an
it's a
apple
strong
through
look,
a
isn't it?
picket fence in, couldn't he? Eh? He's definitely British.
Guy's neck on the left, though.
I know, right?
Jeez.
Needs to wind his neck in.
Wow. Literally, yeah. That can't be real, that.
No.
That can't be.
Absolutely not.
911 calls and mugshots with private info like address and phone numbers redacted. As a result, we got access to Florida Man stories like drunk Florida man kicked out of library, told cops he was Jason Bourne. Florida man with Florida tattoo on his forehead arrested for misuse of 911, marijuana possession. Florida man suspected of smelling woman's feet at library leads police on scooter chase. And in 1967, Florida expanded its open records laws even further with a passage of the government in the Sunshine Law. These provisions, commonly called the Sunshine Law, establish a basic right of access to most meetings of boards, commissions, and other governing bodies of state and local agencies and authorities. Subject to limited exemptions, the Sunshine Law dictates that no resolution, rule, or formal action taken by any governing body or board are legally binding unless their meetings comply with these requirements, which leads to the publication of Florida Man stories like Florida Man offered to pay officer with hamburger for oral sex, police say. Florida Man tells police he's allowed to carry meth, ask the FBI. Florida Man claims he was driving car with 2 missing tires because of a curse. And public officials who knowingly violate these Sunshine Laws are subject to a first-degree misdemeanor charge punishable by a fine of up to $1,000 and a jail term not to exceed 1 year. Now, an unintentional violation is a non-criminal fine of up to $500, and a public official who intentionally violates the public records law is subject to a suspension or removal from office. Wow. And attorney's fees and court costs are available to plaintiffs that prevail in a civil suit for access. And since 1967, Floridians have repeatedly voted to enshrine open government principles into the state constitution. Voters adopted the Sunshine Amendment in 1976, which required the full and public disclosure of the financial interests of all public officers, candidates, and employees. And in 1990, a constitutional amendment applying open meetings laws to the state legislature was overwhelmingly passed by the voters. And in 1992, voters amended the state constitution one more time to guarantee the openness in state government and expand public records laws to the judiciary. And as a result, Florida couldn't hide stories like Florida man accused of using Kool-Aid packets to steal nearly $1,000 in Walmart merchandise. Florida man arrested with pound of cocaine, some kept on stack of bacon. Florida man sprays woman with roach spray, breakout nunchucks over loud music. Now, and that's not to say that the laws are solely responsible for all of the crazy stories that come out of Florida. As highlighted by the New York Times in a report on the subject, some contributing factors to the Florida man phenomenon are the sheer size and diverse culture of the state. Florida is the 3rd largest U.S. state, and with more people means more crime stories. The Times noted that drugs and the weather are also culprits.
I'm a just island boy. I'm a just island boy. Florida boy. I got a real damn tropical.
The steaminess.
That's what Jedward's doing now. Right? It's the American Jedward, that, isn't it?
It's a bit like it, isn't it?
I didn't know Florida was the 3rd largest state.
I didn't either. Yeah. 3rd largest, wow.
Yeah. I guess is that behind Alaska and Texas?
But it's sort of landmass wise.
Is that what he's talking about? It doesn't. Wow. I didn't know that.
I guess so.
Unless he's talking population.
I mean, even in one of those votes, there's like over 2-3 million votes. So that's obviously only a percentage of the people that
largest
live there.
state population-wise.
So population-wise, must be fairly big as well.
Yeah,
then, I
landmass.
guess.
I wouldn't have thought it was the 3rd largest, would you?
I wouldn't have thought off the top of my head it'd be. But it's quite a long state, though, isn't it? So
yeah, it's also California, but there's other big states as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let us know.
Adds to the seaminess, and outdoor living makes for easy viewing and recording. But the most important factor in Florida Man's superhero origin story is the strength of Florida's public records laws. As reported by a local station in Tallahassee, under the Sunshine Act, the public and the media are given access to crime reports almost immediately after they happen, like the daily booking report, which is posted almost as soon as a person is booked into jail. That information allows reporters to detail the narratives quickly. Barbara Peterson, the president of Florida's First Amendment Foundation, notes that the easy access coupled with the sheer novelty makes these stories takes off. Quote, it's fun to say Florida man, both the fact that we do get access to that information early on, but also the branding. And while Florida reporters can get these arrest reports quickly, reporters in other states typically have to file a request for an arrest record, which police can routinely deny despite their jurisdiction's purported open records laws. Arrest reports like, Florida man with drugs around penis denies they were his. Florida man arrested after hitting dad with pizza because he was mad he helped birth him. Florida man arrested for handing out marijuana because it was Christmas. In a 2019 editorial, Pennsylvania journalist
So it's really just a different thing instead of putting like a funny story,
blah
blah blah. It's
Florida,
like Florida,
it's a brand.
People know it's like a brand.
Yeah.
And they know the type of thing it's going to be something really
correct.
odd.
It's going to be it's going to make you smile.
But it's great because of the internet and stuff these days. Even in this country, anywhere in the world, you can get these stories and access them anywhere now, can't you?
Yeah.
It's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
20, 30, 40 years ago, you might get them in like a local paper, something like that.
Yeah, you'd never heard of it. Yeah.
No one would ever hear of it, but it's absolutely worldwide now, isn't it? So it's brilliant.
Gil Smart explained the roadblocks to getting an arrest report in the Keystone State versus the Sunshine State. As Smart explained, Pennsylvania open records laws allow police to withhold information if it's considered part of a criminal investigation. And police would frequently claim that we can't give you the arrest report because it's part of the investigation. And even if police did produce documents, there was no way to know what volume of information was being upheld. But when Smart came to Florida, he was shocked by the ease with which journalists can get information. Quote, law enforcement provides you with this info as a matter of course, without complaining or throwing roadblocks in your way or claiming it's crucial info in an investigation. Just how easy was it for Smart to get these documents in Florida? Well, a local police agency started sending Smart daily arrest reports by email, something he didn't even sign up for or request before receiving them. Now, of course, the salaciousness and silliness of these tales of woe do lend themselves to a special kind of I'm so glad it's not me enjoyment. I mean, how else is one supposed to react to Florida man arrested for calling 911 after his kitten was denied entry into a strip club? It's easy to chuckle at some of these more frivolous sounding stories, but many of these headlines are deeply disturbing and violent, and critics of the Florida man phenomenon note that the punchline is often at the expense of Floridians with mental health issues and severe drug dependency. Mental health issues and drug dependency issues like, oh, well, maybe that's not in such great taste. And it's easy to forget that every Florida man or Florida woman story involves real people, and it's important not to overlook the seriousness of their alleged crimes. Even the creator of the Florida Man Twitter account has regrets about his role in popularizing the meme. For 36-year-old Freddie Campion, who was raised in the United Kingdom, Florida represented a kind of pure, undiluted Americana. Quote, I never thought I was making fun of Florida because Florida is America. It's made up of people who moved here 5 years ago. Even when I think of Florida Man as a character, he moved to Florida after he faked his death in another state. By 2016, 36-year-old Freddie Campion, who was raised in the UK, feared he had lost control of the meme, noticing that, quote, 90% of the stories people were sending me were mean-spirited. In 2017, Campion briefly stopped posting, telling the Washington Post that the comedy felt stale and that he began questioning the ethics of what he was doing. Quote, how much do I want to be a party to essentially making fun of people on their worst day of their lives, even if they have done something wrong? Like, who gave the internet the right to add to someone's punishment? And now the Twitter account is retired, and Campion hopes that other people like himself are learning to be more responsible about what they share online, but he doesn't seem to be quite so optimistic. He said that, quote, I'd still love to see Florida Man have a happy ending. And of course, it's worth noting that a lot of Florida Man stories come directly from arrest reports and other documents containing uncontested facts produced by the police. And of course, the police might have an axe to grind or a certain perspective to promote. And then news organizations that report what the police say without checking any other sources are complicit in this. And they, of course, get in the habit of simply parroting what the police tell them, which in the context of an uncontested case of Florida Man might not be the biggest deal, but it could become an issue when things are more contested in different contexts. So remember, next time you share a crazy Florida Man story, your state citizens are just as dumb and broken. Your laws are just less transparent.
Boom. Roasted.
Of course, it was good while it lasted. When the original Sunshine Amendment passed, the only major exceptions were for bank account numbers, social security numbers, and medical records. But Florida's leadership is actively chipping away at the Sunshine laws. Ron DeSantis is the first Florida governor to claim an executive privilege to keep certain government records secret. The Florida Constitution does not mention executive privilege of any kind, but a Florida trial judge has sided with DeSantis in applying the new privilege to shield emails related to how the governor screens judges. DeSantis has already signed several bills limiting access to information about police and police methods. And in 2023, the Florida legislature has already introduced over 60 bills that would create exceptions to Florida's Public Records Acts. One of the new exceptions would prohibit the agency which provides security for DeSantis from disclosing any details about his travel arrangements, even for trips that are already covered. And another would allow courts to seal eviction proceedings upon request of landlords or tenants. And in 2022, DeSantis signed a law creating an exception for information about candidates for college and university presidencies. So Florida's exceptional sunshine law may be as endangered as, I don't know, some sort of animal that's endangered in Florida, the hawksbill sea turtle or something like that. Of course, the information that Florida has made public will live online forever, but unlike all of the Florida people, you can get your online personal data taken down with today's sponsor, Incogni. Now, I don't know.
Yeah.
Smooth.
Smooth, yeah, but it's a good channel, that.
Yeah,
Legally,
it's a really
isn't
good
it?
channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think some of the headlines there, probably the people are probably maybe being a bit creative with it as well. Of
course they are. That's what they're paid for, isn't it?
Trying to make. I can see what I see about some of them probably got mental health issues and things like that. But you know, most of those things look like the non-custodial type of sort of crimes or potential crimes, maybe. You know. I don't know.
Yeah, just people going through a bad time and having fun
Yeah,
pokes at them. But
maybe
oh,
he
that's-
has a bit too much to drink. And
there's loads of that around the world now on social media. You
Oh,
do
yeah.
the slightest thing wrong, people are
Absolutely full
quick
of
to
it.
poke fun at everyone.
Yeah,
aren't they?
absolutely.
You know, and it's all in. You know, sometimes it's not in good taste, but sometimes it's in bad taste.
Yeah.
You know, but it's you know, be kind and be kind to everyone, and
but like I
people
say,
will be kind back.
It probably is going on in every state in the
Absolutely,
country, isn't it?
absolutely.
But, you know, it is like...
It's just not accessible,
It's
like
like,
you say.
I think it's more accessible there, because of the laws and what have you. But, yeah, it's definitely it's going on everywhere.
Yeah, these idiots all around the world.
Of course there is.
Yeah, he's every country, every city, every town, every street has them.
Yeah.
But that's funny though, Florida man though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
'cause it is one of them things.
It's
anyway.
a thing. Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. Don't forget like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.